everything you do. Compete on the practice field, compete in the weight room, compete in the classroom, compete in everything.
They need to win the drill, win explosive, move forward. So I hope
compete in every single aspect of your life.
Here's what's great about college football this year.
40, 20, 15, 10.
a lot of time. Runs out of time, and down he goes. Touchdown!
Penn State, 93 yards.
Unrivaled, the official podcast of Penn State football.
Well, welcome into the Unrivaled podcast, the official podcast of Penn State football. Time to switch things up as we're going to visit with a couple of offensive linemen on this week's show. Number 71, Will Fries, and number 62, Michael Menet. Gents, how you doing today?
Doing great, Mitch. How are you?
Fantastic. I mean, we're outside the Lash football complex. The sun is starting to come out a little bit.
I was hoping for a little more cloud coverage today, those big guys like that, but
can't deal with the heat or what?
You can deal with the heat. You get out of the kitchen, but like those cloud coverage to stay away from the sunburn.
All right, so camp is underway here in State College, Pennsylvania. Not too much longer until that first game against Idaho on August 31st, which will take place at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the Big Ten Network. But so far, how's camp going? I know it's a grind out there. It's hot. You guys are sweating. You're working as an offensive line, but how's camp going so far?
I think camp's going really well, especially from an offensive perspective. We're just getting everything installed right now and kind of rolling with all the looks the defense has given us. But I think effort, enthusiasm, all that kind of stuff has been really good thus far, which is always important. And then you just kind of figure out everything else as you go.
Will, what's your favorite part about camp?
I think the energy the offense has been bringing so far. As we get going in these dog days of camp, you kind of see that dip down usually. But I think everyone's done a great job stepping up and bringing a lot of energy to these practices.
Once again, kickoff for the 2019 season will be against Idaho on August 31st at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Or if you can't make it, on the Big Ten Network. When you run back outside of that tunnel inside Beaver Stadium, what the heck is that feeling like?
I mean, it's unbelievable. It really never ceases to amaze me how many amazing fans we have in that stadium, just going wild every single time we come out, whether it's beginning of the game, halftime, doesn't really matter to our crowd. They're always going crazy no matter what.
Yeah, kind of going off that, just the juice all the fans are bringing, there's never a dull moment when you're coming out there and you're just loving every second of it and trying to absorb it. Will,
what was your recruiting process like?
The recruiting process is pretty crazy. It wasn't really what I expected it to be when it first started going on. I'm sure it wasn't as crazy as Michael's, being an Under Armour All-American, #1 guard in the state of Pennsylvania.
Relax.
But, it was really crazy, just the way the coaches always try and get in contact with you and things like that. Penn State especially has always done a good job of keeping tabs on you no matter where you're going, who your other schools you're going to see. But, it ended up, this June 9th, I decided to finally pull the trigger on it and commit to Penn State, and I was really happy about that.
Michael, you were rated as a top 100 recruit nationally and arrived on campus with a 5-star rating by Scout and 24/7 Sports. How did you land at Penn State?
I think Penn State offered, I think they were my third offer, freshman that summer, and it was still when Coach O'Brien was here and Coach Mack was here. Was initially when I got offered. Then after that one, offers kind of started rolling through pretty daily. And then once the new staff got here, Coach Franklin and Coach Hand, all those guys, they all reached out pretty much right away and kind of said, hey, we love you. Your offer still stands with us being here. And from that point on, they were pretty much in my ear every day, whether it was sending me a DM or whatever the rules were. I don't remember back then. But as much as they could talk to me or see me, they were doing it. And although a lot of other schools were doing that, the investment that they had in trying to get me to come here was definitely the highest that I saw based off of any other schools.
Now, one of you, your brother, I believe, one of you's brothers connected with Coach Franklin pretty well, if I remember correctly, right?
I think both of them, honestly.
Both of them?
Yeah.
My brother said he wanted to be the next James Franklin. My brother and Coach Franklin are real close, and, I think that's part of why you pick here is just because, he really cares about not only you but your family and, building a lifelong relationship.
Yeah, just going off that, I think that was another great thing that Coach Franklin did. He recruited me, but he also recruited my family. My family loved this place when I committed just as much as I did. They loved all the staff just as much as I did. If I would have committed somewhere else, honestly, they probably wouldn't have been extremely happy. But like I said, loved everything about it, and that's why I'm here today.
How difficult is the recruiting process? Because I believe that unless you go through it, you truly don't really know what's going on inside your heads, inside your family's heads, whatever it is. But what is the recruiting process and kind of what it has evolutionized to what it is today?
I think there's a lot of hype in it now, just the way these recruiting sites hype up guys and things like that. But, it's great. It gets, the fans involved and things like that. It's really just exciting, stressful but in a good way process to go through. Helps you make lifelong decisions and kind of figure out what you're truly looking for in a program.
My dad, he really helped me a ton going through the recruiting process because he did it with my older brother a little bit, and so he already kind of knew where he needed to improve as far as being a mentor and just being part of my support staff for that. So he probably drew up on Excel maybe 15 spreadsheets throughout the 3-year recruiting process. Just, this is how far this school is, this is how many wins they've had over the past however many years, all that kind of stuff. He was kind of crazy with it, but honestly it did help because initially I decided that I wasn't going to go anywhere that was more than 6 hours away. So those schools gone because my family is important to me, so I wanted them to be close. So just going off that, that helped me a ton.
That's deep into the recruiting process.
Yeah, for
stats,
sure.
all that stuff. That's commitment.
Yeah, he was very committed to it, that's for sure.
All right, so then you guys get on campus at Penn State University and ultimately one day become roommates. Who walked into the room first, and what was your first perception of each other?
I think Will was there first.
Yeah.
When we
I picked the
showed
side closer to the window, so there was more air.
He did. He picked the side closer to the window, and I was a little bit mad about it at first, but then once we kind of got into things, we eventually ended up moving his bed basically into his closet so we could throw a futon in the middle of our room. So he was really the one sleeping in the closet every night. So I was all right being next to the door then.
Yeah, those dorms will get a little tight in there, but it was nice to get a little couch in there. Got to make sacrifices for the roommate dynamic, but it ended up working out pretty well.
So you guys clicked right away?
Yeah, we knew each other a little bit just from being up here a bunch. But I think after the first week or two, we were clicking already. We could just tell that there was some kind of bond there, and just kept growing from there.
Now I can't imagine that every day was necessarily perfect living together, but did you guys have any moments of clash?
Yeah, 100%. There was one time, I don't even know how it started. I don't know what made us turn to this, but I guess we were just on each other's nerves for probably if I had to guess, a week or two straight. And then finally we both just had enough. Somebody said something or something happened, and it was 2 a.m, and we just started wrestling for probably 3 hours straight.
Yeah, it was probably started with a couple tough guy shoves back and forth, and then eventually turned into a full-on wrestling match into the beds, throwing each other around, headlocks, body slams. It was like a WWE match in there, and ended up some cracked bread frames and things like that. But I don't know if anyone really found out about that.
So we're talking 3 or 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yes.
In the dorms. Mm-hmm. You guys are going at it because of whatever the heck happened. Tension building up for a week. Nobody around you came to check on you to make sure everything was all right. You guys just went straight at it.
Yeah, we were just going at it. Middle of the night. I think it was the summertime. I remember I was sweating profusely. Yeah. But, once it was all said and done, we literally just looked at each other, sat down, went to bed, woke up the next morning, we were fine. Honestly, I think that was very good for us to just get out whatever frustrations we had. Yeah. And then we just moved on from it, so it was good.
What's it like living together?
Oh, it's good. Mike's a great roommate. He, sometimes he cooks for me. He doesn't forget me on Valentine's Day when I don't have a Valentine. He makes me chicken parm. He's been a great roommate. He's really neat and clean, and he kind of takes care of the place for us.
Yeah, honestly, I've never liked a mess, so I feel like I'm always the one cleaning since freshman year on. I've been cleaning. We're now going on 4 years rooming together, along with a bunch of other people as well. But it's basically always me cleaning. We'll take out the trash and stuff, but when it comes down to actually cleaning and making sure the place looks nice, it always falls on me.
So that's kind of like a direct shot at him right there.
Oh, 100%.
He knows it too.
Yeah, he knows it.
Maybe that's where some attention came from.
That's probably where some attention came from. Yeah.
How do you guys get away from the stress of football? And it's not always stress. Obviously, you guys are having fun out there, but there comes a point when it gets to probably this time in the season when things start to stack up a little bit with team meetings and all that stuff. But how do you guys get away from everything?
You know, there's a couple of things you can do. Something I've been getting into a little more recently is just, you know, meditating, you know, trying to just take a, full body, just relaxation. And, I found, relaxing in the cold tub has been really helpful. I know that sounds kind of weird, but, just breathing through it, kind of just relaxing your body has been something that I've really gone to.
Yeah, especially during camp. Whenever I have downtime, it's pretty much used to take care of my body, whether it's getting in the cold tub, hot tub, doing recovery pumps, something like that. Especially during camp, that's basically where all my time goes, that I don't have to be either in meetings or practice.
Once again, visiting with number 71, Will Fries, and number 62, Michael Menet, as we continue on the Unrivaled podcast. Penn State will open up the season August 31st against Idaho inside Beaver Stadium at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the Big Ten Network. But, guys, Coach has kind of emphasized the whole championship habits thing so far this season, headed into game one and obviously after that, but you guys are focused on Idaho. But I want to get your thoughts on what that means and kind of what he has to say right here.
Our mantra this year that we're going to talk about all the time is championship habits. And, just big believers in the habits that our guys have on and off the field are really going to allow them to be successful in both areas as well. So it's all of it. It's all the little things. It's all the details. It's how we practice. It's how we meet. It's how we prepare. It's how we are in the community. It's how we are in class, sitting in the front row, taking notes early, all those things. So that's going to be something you're probably going to hear all year long. Is our championship habits mantra that we're gonna keep hammering home.
Championship habits, Michael. What does that kind of mean to you?
I think to me, championship habits means just doing all the little things every single day, no matter who's watching, no matter who's not watching. Making sure you're taking great notes, making sure, especially for offensive line, you're finishing blocks. For me specifically, making sure that I know the in and out of every single play we're going to run so I can put the offensive line in the best position to be able to block it and really exceed on that play. It just really goes into all the little things.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where you go into practice and you have to have a single focus on getting better at something specific every day. You can't overwhelm yourself with a million different things. It's having a good mindset every single day. It's taking care of your body. It's the nutrition. It's all those things that Michael mentioned, but all those little things, add up into, something that's special and, being a championship.
Coach Franklin walking by the window out here at the Lash Football Complex. We're doing this podcast outside. It's a humid, hot day, but what's it like to play for that guy?
It's awesome. Kind of like what we were talking about before in the recruiting process. He's the same guy that, recruits you and coaches you. He's going to recruit you hard. He's going to, coach you hard. You go out there every day. He's got a ton of energy. He's pushing you. Even through these walkthroughs, he's making sure you're in a perfect fit every single time. So, all those little details really matter to him, and it, trickles over to everyone else that's, playing for him.
Yeah, I think what Will said about him being the same guy that recruited you, now here coaching you, I think that is immensely important. I'm not sure how it is at other schools, but I know he is the same guy that I met my freshman year when he got here. The same exact guy. He cares so much. He still asks me about my family constantly, still wants to know how they're all doing. And like Will said, he just coaches with tremendous passion and energy, and I think at the head coach position, you absolutely need that.
Back with more of the Unrivaled podcast with Will Fries and Michael Menet after this.
Hey, listen up, Penn State football fans. Make sure to run your route on your way to see Penn State football in Beaver Stadium all season long. There's a new traffic plan this season, and you can find out your designated route to the stadium just by visiting gopsusports.com/gameday. Know before you go and run your route to Beaver Stadium this fall. Visit gopsusports.com/gameday to know your route to see your favorite football team this season.
Touchdown, Penn State!
Welcome back to the Unrivaled Podcast as we continue to chat with number 71 and number 62. Now, you both have been able to play with your fair share of, let's say, legends during your time at Penn State. But, Michael, I'm going to play a clip from last season, and I want you to tell me what it was like to play with number 9.
Well, Iowa's defense knows it too, that McSorley can't run the way he did, let's say, a week ago. Although he takes off here on cue. Trace McSorley runs just fine down the sideline for the touchdown. 51 yards for the score. The knee looks just fine.
Trace McSorley, what was it like to be able to block for that guy up front?
He is probably the toughest kid I ever met in my life. Whenever he came out of the game, people thought he was hurt. People thought he wouldn't come back in, all this stuff, and he always did, and he always continued to excel. I think that clip you just played, the Iowa play when he busted out, what was it, like a 60-yard touchdown or maybe 40 yards, I don't remember. But right after he came back, or right when he came back in the game, I think that sums him up perfectly. Whenever people doubt him is when he excels. And he's just been a fighter his whole entire life, and he continues to do that every day. He's a grinder.
I remember when you guys were playing the Kentucky Citrus Bowl game last year, he goes out. He's battling that knee injury for however many games at that point. But I remember it being almost somewhat expected that he was going to be out the rest of the game, and then the dude comes back in. Are you like, what the heck?
No, it didn't
You're just
surprise me at
expecting
all.
that.
It literally did not surprise me one bit.
I mean, that's just the definition of grit. You know, when you look up Trace McSorley in the dictionary, you just see a gritty guy that, you know, nothing phases him. He battles through everything, you know, and that's what makes him a great leader and a great teammate.
Will, let's jump back to a few seasons ago and get your take on what it was like playing with number 26.
Barkley off the left side. Here he goes. Look at the speed. Oh, my goodness. Breaks a tackle. Gonna take it to the house. 92 yards. Toying with the defender. Saquon Barkley. Encore.
Saquon Barkley. Tell me about that dude. I know, obviously, you didn't get to spend a ton of time with him, but what was it like to be able to spend a little bit of time with number 26?
Yeah, so that highlight sums up basically his whole career. His whole career is just a highlight, and I believe that one's from the Fiesta Bowl.
Correct.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously he was just going to dominate that game again. But, you know, not only was he a great player, he's an outstanding teammate. You know, he's a great guy. You know, he's one of those guys, first people who's always going up to his offensive line, seeing how his big boys are doing. You know, it was awesome playing with him. He was a phenomenal teammate. You know, just those clips of him running 90 yards and stuff like that just never gets old. And he's just a beast.
You were on the left side on that play, right?
That's correct, left tackle.
Pretty good block on that guy?
I would say so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Not too bad?
Not too shabby, you know. 26 makes us all look good, but you know, sometimes we help him out a little bit too.
Are you guys able to tell when you have kind of a freak athlete behind you, whether it be at the quarterback position, the wide receiver position? I mean, you can talk about wide receivers too, but are you kind of able to tell when you got something special back there?
Absolutely. You know, it's one of those things that, like, you know, you can never stop playing because, you know, guys like Trace, guys like Saquon are always looking to make a play. So, you know, you think you made your block, you're not done yet because, you know, they're looking to make a play. You know, if there's nothing downfield, they're going to start running. So you better stick it in for the long haul because they're making a play.
Yeah, there's always big play potential with the caliber of skill players that we have behind us. So it just makes you want to finish that block even more because you know that one extra half a second that you stay on that block could be the difference between a 9-yard run and a 90-yard run because that is the type of talent we have here consistently.
Let's play a little game. Cool? All right, so we're going to do the person that you've enjoyed blocking for the most, and then if you could block for one guy, who would that be and why? So let's do who you've enjoyed blocking for most so far. Start with you, Michael.
I'll probably say Miles.
Miles Sanders.
Yeah, he just never quit. He ran extremely hard, and whenever he scored or whenever he had a big play, the first thing he would do is come find us and say, hey, let's do it again or something like that. He was always giving it back to us and always super appreciative of what we did for him.
Will?
I'm going to go KJ Hamler.
Oh.
He is always, you know, just going to make a play. I mean, he's a quick, explosive guy. You know, when he has the ball, the play is not going to die. So, you know, he's been a blast blocking for him.
So what went through your mind, your body, the chills, whatever you want to say, when he busted that one last year against Ohio State for whatever amount of yardage that was?
Yeah, that's actually exactly what I was thinking about, because that was ridiculous. You think it's gonna be a short, game there, and all of a sudden he takes off, and he's so fast that you're trying to catch up with him, but you're not even gonna be close. So
takes the snap back, waits, delivers. Hamler's got it 15-20. KJ 25-30. Far sideline 40, and there he goes. KJ Hamler 40, 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown! Penn State, 93 yards.
A frustrating finish to the season for you guys a year ago, but what motivates both of you to push past that and focus on the task ahead?
I think just the buy-in that we have for each other, and just to the process that we have. Just every single day, even say I show up to practice sore, I know I'm still giving 110% because I know Will's doing that, and I know that Steve's going to do that, and everybody else down the line, and then behind us as well. Whoever is in there, you're always getting their best effort. And I think that is kind of what drives us, just playing for each other, just being grateful to be a member of this team and just doing it for each other.
yeah, Mike summed it up perfectly. Not only these guys great players, they're great teammates. They come over before, every time we start a team rip, they're always checking in on us, see how we're doing. So, not only are they getting the ball and, they're going to see all the headlines and stuff, but they always make sure us big boys are all right too.
So speaking of checking in on you and making sure your unit is all right, sounds like the quarterback room kind of takes care of you guys during the season, true?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
What do you do?
So it transitioned from Trace's mom would always get us like some kind of snack every night before the game. We were at the hotel. And then this year the quarterbacks are talking about taking out the offensive line to dinner every week, which I think is going to be awesome.
You're going to feast off that.
Oh, yeah, 100%, taking full advantage.
If you could switch positions with anybody, Will, on this year's roster, let's go to the defensive side of the football. You guys have enough of that offensive stuff, but defensive side, who would you switch positions with?
If I could switch positions, I think I would switch positions with – I think it would go Garrett Taylor. I think I could see myself, hard-hitting safety coming down there, lighting someone up, and I think that'd be a blast.
You?
Just positions or athletic ability as well? Because athletic ability, I'm going to switch with Micah because, that kid's absolute freak. Let's be real. But, no, playing linebacker would be cool. I always wanted to do it when I was a kid. I was always playing, obviously, offensive line, defensive line. Although I did have a slight stint at fullback, and I enjoyed that. But, no, probably Micah. Just be fun to play linebacker.
So you played kind of all over a little bit? Position-wise?
When I was a kid?
Yeah.
We were talking like youth football. That was probably 3rd, 4th grade. I was playing
So offensive
fullback.
line was pretty decided once you were headed into high school?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Or if you haven't seen Michael's huddle tape, you can go ahead and check that out and see him catch a couple passes at tight end. Maybe throw a couple of those plays in there this year, Coach Ronnie.
Tight end.
Yeah, played a little bit of tight end my senior year. I would wear 2 jerseys, actually. I'd have 84 on the bottom and then 72 over top, and I'd kind of switch off and on throughout the game. Had a few injuries, so somebody had to step up into the tight end role, and it just happened to be me.
So somebody's ripping that jersey off when you're on the sideline, putting it back on every single time?
There's tons of pictures of it. It was my head coach, and my older brother was actually an assistant coach on the team. Tons of hilarious pictures trying to get that jersey on and off during the game.
So you ever trying to call that tight end room out, maybe Pat, Bowers, whoever it might be, and be like, dude, it's not that hard.
Oh, I've told him before. Like I used to do this. So I mean, if you guys don't catch any passes, I'm right there behind you waiting. So,
what's so special about this place?
Everything, honestly. The first time I was on campus, I pretty much fell in love. So for every other school trying to recruit me, it probably wasn't very fair. But just from how the university is set up, the buildings, the stadium, our facilities that we have here, everything is truly the best that I've seen. And then you just have the aspect of our team is a family. So that is huge, and that's kind of what drives me every day to want to be better for this team.
Will?
Yeah, I think you can sum it down to one thing with all that. It's just, the passion and energy that the community brings, that, the coaches have, that – just our whole team has right now, that, we're all in on it and ready to go. Just a really special place.
Guys, appreciate you joining us on this episode of the Unrivaled Podcast. Good luck this season, all right?
Thank you
Thank you very much.
That'll do it for this episode of the Unrivaled Podcast, as Will Fries and Michael Menet are guests. Fans, be sure to submit your questions, your comments, send us your reviews, and be sure to share this podcast with your friends. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time on the Unrivaled Podcast.
Unrivaled, the official podcast of Penn State football.